And in fact, we've been talking a lot about how we are starting to see a little bit the effects of these protests in the Black Lives Matter movement, especially in Hollywood. And this week, we saw the Bachelor franchise. A lot of people in Bachelor Nation calling for more diversity in the show. Bachelor alums are calling on producers to cast more Black people, more minorities, and people of color. And of course, former Bachelorette Rachel Lindsay, who is the only Black lead in the Bachelorette's history, the only Black lead. She has become, whether she intended to or not, almost a poster child for race relations, and especially as it relates to this franchise. And she has gone on the record to say that it's time for there to be a Black Bachelor. She's even called the show whitewashed. And she doubled down on those comments when ET's Lauren Zima talked to her today. And in fact, she went as far as to say that she no longer wants to be affiliated with a franchise that is not on the right side of history. Let's take a look.
At this point, you can't be neutral. You're either on the wrong side or the right side. And the franchise, to me, has been on the wrong side for 18 years, for 40 seasons. So are you going to step onto the right side at this point? And that's what I am trying to put the pressure on them to do, and hoping also that the audience will as well. I get so many people that write me that say, I feel conflicted watching the show because I know that there are things that can be changed. Well, then be the change. Start speaking out. It can't just be me. They're tired of hearing from me at this point. But then on the other side of it, I'm honestly exhausted, Lauren. I'm tired of speaking out. There have been issues that have happened, a couple in May with Hannah Brown and then with Garrett. And I'm just so exhausted from having to speak out. And I feel obligated to, because it does directly impact me. And I've also, I think, built a brand where I am outspoken on certain things that bother me or that affect me. And I'm mentally exhausted. And I just feel for my mental health, I might need to step away as well.
I almost feel her exhaustion, because she has said, she said in this interview too, that she has talked about this issue, and she's been criticized for it too, by calling the Bachelor out for not being as diverse as it should be. And so I'm tired with her.
Well, I mean, and what I commend her so much for speaking out every time. She could have easily said, this isn't my problem, but she realizes that it is her problem, right? She says that she stayed in this franchise mainly because she wanted to be a voice for people of color. She mentioned that on her blog. She wrote a really nice, detailed blog post on her website. It's called Honestly Rach. Well, her blog is called Honestly Rach. And she talked about how, her biggest complaint is how the show doesn't reflect what the real world looks like. Not only when it comes to color, but also different type of women and their sizes. She also mentioned
ages.
Ages,
yeah.
She also mentioned how she was rooting for Mike Johnson to become the next Bachelor, and he checked all of the boxes, but yet Peter Weber was chosen, and it just really didn't make sense. She said the most important action the franchise can make right now is to acknowledge the fact that, they've been having a part in systemic racism when it comes to this show. That's what she wants right now, and that's what she's calling for.
Whether it's implicit or not, the facts are facts. And that's that in its 18-year history, 40 seasons, there has not been a Black Bachelor. There has not been a Black man as the lead of the show, of the flagship show. And it's something that former Bachelor Sean Lowe also talked to ET about. When asked whether he thinks it's time for a Black Bachelor, he said absolutely, he agrees. But he says it needs to start with hiring more Black men in the franchise in general, specifically on The Bachelorette. Let's take a look.
I would say I want to see a Black Bachelor, right? But I think you would be doing that person an injustice if you just cast him as the lead for the simple fact that you want a Black Bachelor. So what they need to do is start casting more Black men in the Bachelorette, because they do the recycling of, Bachelorette to Bachelor, and then pick a good Bachelor based on their merits, based on the fan reaction and so forth. And it won't be that difficult if you just continue casting Black men. But unfortunately, season after season, there only seems to be one or two, maybe three cast in the group of 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
And I love how he said, don't just make it a handout. Like, I have to hire a black man. Hire men who are fit. There's definitely Black men out there that are bachelors. Trust me, I know. They're out there. And they're willing and they're ready. I also want to
Yes.
mention something that Rachel said. She said, when you bring on a bachelor or a bachelorette, bring on someone who is really interested in dating outside of their race, or at least open to it. When you have Black contestants on the show, a lot of them are looked at as the token Black contestants. You know, as a Black woman watching, in the back of my head, if I'm just to be honest, I don't ever think that they're going to actually make it to the end and supposed to, you know. So there's a lot that needs to be handled on that end, and I just commend Rachel for speaking out about this.